Hey, this lesson is about the array prototype map. So what that does is this is a method in JavaScript that allows us to create a new array with results calling from an array that was provided, and we're able to run a function on them. So basically what it means is we are able to rebuild the array and structure it the way that we want it to look. So let's create a sample array. We can just call it const, and we can this is just going to be a temporary sample array so that you can get more familiar with map. And I don't mean to have them all consecutive. And then what we want to do with map is we're going to create another array. So using const array, and we can have array2. And what this is going to do is this is going to take the contents of array1, or I should just call this array1, of course, and array1, and it's going to map the contents of array1. So looping through all of the values. You can use the fat arrow as well for functions, so that can shorten that. And that's the example here, that it's just using the newer format for functions, the shorthand format for functions, which is the arrow, so that's the equal and greater than. But in this case, we're going to use the older format for functions because most students are more familiar with that one. And if you do want to write the new one, then feel free to do that as well. So it does the same thing. And in this case, so we're mapping out x, and I'll show you what happens when we console log out x in this case. So you can see what happens is that as we iterated through all the values that are contained within array1, so it doesn't matter how many values I add in there, you're going to see that they're all getting looped. So we're going to essentially be looping through when we're doing map, and we're rebuilding the new array. And we haven't done anything with the new array yet. It's all undefined because we actually aren't returning anything. So if we want to just rebuild the same array, then we can return back x. And you're going to see that if I log out array number 2, it's actually going to be identical to number 1. So that is one way to duplicate an array, and it's a more complicated way to duplicate an array. But ideally what we want to do is we want to do something with those values and then return back the new updated values. So if we want them all to be multiplied by 5, and it looks like I lost the live preview there, so just give it a second to come back and open up the console. And I bet you we have the error for the favicon, so we'll just refresh. And now when I type in array2, you're going to see that now what we've done is we've taken all the values from array1 and we've multiplied them by 5. So you're going to have to trust me that these numbers are correct, that this is now array2. And we want to do the same thing with the content that's being returned back from the request, where we want to loop through them and map out all of the result information, and then take the information that we want to use and structure a brand new object in the format that we want to use that object. So let me show you what I mean. So for now, we'll just comment this part out, and we'll go back to the code that we were using earlier and going all the way down where we're returning the data into the console. So instead of returning the data into the console, we're going to create a brand new function, and this is going to be output planets, and this is going to take in one piece of data. And for now we will console log out data just to make sure that we are getting it correctly. New map, so we can use const and we can create a brand new array map. We can planets actually. So this is our brand new planets array that we're going to be creating, and we only want to get some information. There's quite a bit of information here, and this is how you can rebuild your objects to simplify them. So maybe we want to get the name as well as the films that they were in. So we only want to get 2 pieces of data, and this is where we can use map, and ideally use map in order to better structure that. So taking in that data, and we got to look to see where we've got all of the planets, the planet listed. So that's within results. So under planet results, and we want to loop through all of the results, and then we want to return back the names. So taking in planet results and then using the map method, just create a function in order to handle that. And then within the function, this is where you've got your item. So this is where we've got all of the information for each individual item. And so just like what we saw before with X, we can output that into the console, and then we can also return it. And in this case, we're going to be returning back the item name, and that's all we're going to return back. So now planets will consist of, instead of data, it will consist of just all of the names. And we can see we're looping through, so this is the map where we're looping all of the planets, and then at the end all we've got is the planet names. And you can also use an object for this as well. So instead of just having that item name, we can also get back things like the URL and all of the films as well. So let's add that in where we're going to get back the name and then films. So keeping it within an object format, we're going to do names and then films, and films will be equal to, so just cola separated, so item films. And you can include any one of the pieces that you want in the planets. So when we refresh and we hit press me, now we've got a simpler array to work with, and then we can use this to output it into our DOM area. So that's coming up next.